What if everything you've been blaming on something or someone else, your boss, your schedule, your circumstances, is actually your own tiny choices catching up with you? What if the conversations you avoided, the promises you broke to yourself, and the habits you ignored are quietly running your life? And it's all compounding against you. Smart, capable women get stuck all the time. Not because we're not trying, but because we repeat the wrong things. The consequences may be barely noticeable at first, until one day, it's all caught up with you. We've all been there. In this episode, we're talking about the compound effect, how small, consistent choices build the life you want or the life you don't. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Bold Life School, the show that empowers you to elevate your life and to step into your full potential. I'm your host, Jameson, and this is where ambition meets authenticity, where you'll find the tools and inspiration to grow, evolve, and thrive. Each week, we dive into powerful topics that challenge the status quo, whether it's to break through limiting beliefs, navigate life's transitions, or embrace the bold moves that push you beyond your comfort zone. Now let's get into today's episode. Let me start with a truth that's a little uncomfortable, but incredibly freeing. Your life didn't end up here by accident. It got here by one small decision at a time. Not dramatic failure, not one massive win, just repetition. You may want to immediately put your guard up, but don't. Let me just say this clearly. This isn't about blame. This is about power and empowerment. Because once you understand the compound effect, you stop waiting for your life to change and you start directing it. Here's what I see all the time, especially with smart, capable, high-achieving women. They're strategic. They're competent. They get some results. And yet, in many areas of their lives, they feel stalled, unable to catch up, as if they're not achieving the results they truly need, want, or desire. Not because they're not doing enough, but because they haven't looked closely or truthfully at what they're repeating. Our results are loyal to our habits, not to our intentions. And consistency always tells the truth. The compound effect is simple, but it's not easy. Small actions done consistently over time create massive, predictable results. This is not hustle culture. This isn't grind. This isn't doing more. It's about directing your efforts consistently. Because you don't rise to the level of your goals just because you have them. You sink or climb to the level of your standards. These are your habits. What you expect of yourself. And here's why this messes with people. Tiny actions don't feel powerful in the moment. They don't flatter your ego. They don't make for great Instagram captions. But tiny actions work. If it's repeatable, it's powerful. This hits hard in midlife. Midlife is where the math starts showing up. This is the season where careers plateau, energy shifts, the body starts to move a little slower, tolerance for nonsense disappears. But midlife isn't a breakdown. It's a great time for an audit. You can finally see what's been compounding, good or bad. And that can be terrifying or incredibly clarifying if you're willing to look at your life closely. Because this is the moment where pretending gets very expensive. Don't worry. Awareness is the first step in getting that upgrade you desire. Let's talk about the lies we've been sold about achieving results and why believing them keeps smart women spinning. Myth number 1. I just need one big break. Here's the thing. You don't, not really. We've been conditioned to think success comes in these big lightning strikes. A promotion that magically lands in your lap, a business that explodes overnight, or the moment someone finally notices your brilliance. That's the one big break myth. But the truth, there are no overnight successes. There are only timelines most people ignore. That promotion, that opportunity, that transformation, what looks like a quick breakthrough is usually the final step of hundreds of quiet, boring, unglamorous reps and hours of work. You've been putting effort in for years, strategizing, showing up, doing the work, but maybe it doesn't look flashy. Sometimes it's even boring. Maybe no one's cheering for you. That's okay. Momentum looks boring until it doesn't, until it looks brilliant and like success and huge results. What you compound quietly today, boringly today, sets up the breakthroughs for tomorrow. The second myth about success is that small changes don't matter. You hear this all the time with people in voting. Oh, I'm not going to vote. My vote won't matter. Oh, if I eat this cookie, it's just one cookie. It won't matter every day. This one is dangerous because it makes you feel powerless. You give away your power. You think, if it's not a huge dramatic change today, then why bother? Just throw in the towel. But here's the reality. Small changes matter more than any grand gesture because they're the only ones you'll actually repeat consistently. And we do. While your ego craves all these big moves and flashy success stories, lottery ticket type of energy, it wants excitement, risk, instant results. We all do. Your future, though, it wants consistency, habits, discipline, direction. Repetition, not drama, creates the real change. So that one extra hour of focus a week, that one honest conversation, that one small boundary enforced consistently, each of those tiny steps compound quietly over time to give you the results that you want or the results that you don't want. The insight here is that these big moves certainly get attention, but they're not real. It's tiny, consistent moves that get results. The third myth around getting results or success is that if it's not hard, it's probably not working. Oh, how many women I've seen burn out chasing this lie. We've been told the story that hard effort, pain, trauma, and drama creates results. Exhaustion equals success. We're told to work hard, and we'll get there. But if your growth plan requires constant burnout, it's not sustainable. If it's not sustainable, it's not going to compound into the results that you want. Sometimes taking it easier is necessary. Ease isn't lazy. Ease is a strategy. The compound effect rewards repeatable action, not big heroic efforts. So one habit that fits, that you can do consistently, will always beat a giant push that collapses after a week. So when you want to make changes, start with small behavior and thought changes that you can and will continue day after day, week after week, month after month. If you can't repeat it, it's not going to happen. You don't need to suffer in order to succeed. You need to choose the actions that you can sustain, that actually stick, and that will actually lead to results if you stick to them. Into my 40s, I wanted to get back in shape. So I started taking Pilates reformer classes. I mean, what appealed to me most about these classes is that, and you're going to laugh, you get to lie down while you work out. What? I mean, sign me up. I'd heard also that Pilates was great for the body, particularly the midsection, the abs. But I was having a hard time believing that this type of workout, kind of gentle, could produce visible changes. I wasn't inflicting enough pain on myself for it to do anything, right? And yet here I am, around 300 classes in, and I have to say, that I'm probably the strongest and leanest that I've been in a decade or two, even though it was gentle exercise in comparison to running every day and the damage that it does on your knees or taking Orange Theory classes. I asked myself, would a few classes produce the same effect? Absolutely not. But it was the gentle but consistent effort to show up, to do those exercises over and over again, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, that led to those long-term results. So it doesn't have to be hard to work. You just have to be consistent. Most people skip this part, but it's critical. Positive habits compound over time, but so do the negative ones. Your self-talk, avoidance of decisions, the boundaries you don't enforce, the conversations you don't have, they all add up quietly and predictably. Think about it. Every time you say, "Oh, I'll start tomorrow," or you tolerate disrespect, or you decide to delay a decision instead of acting on it right now, you're sending a message to your nervous system about what's acceptable, about what your standards are, even when they're low standards. You're teaching yourself limits that you may not even realize exist. You're lowering your ceiling of possibilities. Then you continue implementing those standards, the low ones, and all of a sudden, you're behind. You can't take it anymore. You've got yourself into a real type of pickle. And the scary part is that it happens invisibly. We often don't notice the cumulative effect, especially when it's small things, until we feel stuck, frustrated, or off track. But inaction is still a choice. Avoidance compounds faster than effort. For example, when you start eating junk food in your diet, it seems like absolutely no time before it finds its way to your body, your hips, your stomach. But when you try to reverse the weight gain by putting in some efforts, it seems to take forever to lose, right? Your inner voice is either training you or sabotaging you. And this is why so many of us get stuck, not because we're lazy or incapable, but because we're compounding behaviors that are working against us. Here's where transformation really happens. Inside your mind, your thoughts, your standards, the tolerations that you accept, and the promises you keep to yourself all compound over time. What you reinforce internally ends up showing up externally every single time. Your thoughts feed your feelings feed your actions, and your actions produce results. But the good news is your mindset isn't fixed. It's also a habit. What you tolerate at work becomes your reputation. What you avoid becomes your anxiety. What you repeat becomes your identity. This is the quiet, invisible power of the compound effect. The choices you make consistently, no matter how small, define who you are, how others see you, and the life that you create. Many women accidentally sabotage themselves. I've been there. I think we've all been there to some degree. Women wait for clarity. They wait for a clear decision. They're waiting for a huge sign or signal from God or the universe before taking action. Or they start strong, hype themselves up, and then give up easily. It's like we want to go into a new goal or a new life journey with instant success. So we're looking for competence right at the beginning, right? If I just start running, should I be able to run 5 miles straight? Probably not, right? I might need to build up to that, to build momentum. You don't need to feel ready or competent to begin. You just need to keep moving, to get started, even in small steps, and use that as momentum to continue, to be disciplined. The real growth isn't waiting for perfect conditions. It's showing up repeatedly, learning along the way, and trusting the compounding power of your actions. Let's make this practical and tactical. You don't need to fix your whole life at once. In fact, you can't. We need to prioritize. So let's pick one lane and see what we can do to compound some results. So if you're thinking in your career, maybe you want to grow your career, you want to step into leadership, take one action each day to connect with a mentor, an expert, a colleague that can show you the ropes. Let's say you're working on your health. Start with one promise that you can keep to yourself every day, no matter how small. Maybe it's that you will just start walking for 5 minutes. If you can walk for 5 minutes a day and trust yourself to follow through on that, you will likely find some momentum and end up walking longer, further. And those results will compound over time. Let's say that you want to work on relationships and having more closeness in your social circle. You could start one habit to text with a friend one time a day to keep your connections closer than they've been lately. Over time, you'll feel more connected to your friends, and your friends will probably feel more connected to you. Here's what I want you to take with you. A year from now, your life will look different. Not because of luck, not because of motivation, but because of what you choose to repeat. The compound effect is already working for you in one way or the other. If you're listening to this and realizing that it's the smallest things shaping your life, your thoughts, your standards, the conversations you avoid, the promises you keep or don't keep, I want to invite you into a simple, powerful daily practice. It's particularly good for those who need positive thoughts in their minds. I write a free weekday newsletter called Bold Love Notes. Every weekday, you'll receive a 60-second or less email. It's short, it's sharp, it's intentional, and it's designed to interrupt the autopilot where you think, I can't do that. I've made my limits on my life. The possibilities just aren't there for me. And give you inspiration, courage, audacity, and support while you move forward to achieve goals and results in your next chapter. My goal is to help you start compounding courage instead of doubt, to remind you that your desires are valid, that your voice matters, and that you don't need permission to elevate your life, but you do need good habits. It's free for a limited time, and it's one of the easiest ways to start choosing differently without overhauling your entire life. So if you're ready to start compounding in a new direction, you can sign up for Bold Love Notes at the link in the show notes. Because your future isn't waiting on motivation. It's waiting on your next small choice. And that choice is yours. If you enjoyed today's episode, head over to theboldlife.coach for more resources, join our community, and start living your boldest life today.